With this question we have to simplify. The first step is not being scared by what you see. First, let's have a look and break it down into its component parts. What is the question actually saying? Not A and B and C, or A and B and not C, or A and B and C, or not A and B and not C. Well, what is the first part that I'm going to look at? A and B and not C, or A and B and C. Now have a look at what I do here. I take A and B and I AND that with C or not C inside these brackets. What have I actually done here? Well, I have taken out some common terms and factorised A and B. If I multiplied these out, I would actually get back to my original terms. And this is quite a difficult thing for students to spot and understand. Albeit, here my terms are rearranged in a different order, but that doesn't actually matter because I can rearrange it using the commutative law. Now I'll just quickly write out the rest of my algebra expression, and you should be able to see now inside the brackets of A and B and C or not C, you should be able to work out that those brackets is just going to equal 1. If C is 0, it'll get inverted to 1, and if C is 1, it'll get inverted to 0. In both of those cases, I'll always have a 1 present, and when you're ORing them together, if you have a 1 present, doesn't matter if there's another 0 on the other side, it will always return a 1. The next step now is to look at A and B and 1 inside the parentheses. If I AND A and B with a 1, the identity law states that it will return whatever you ANDed it with. So in this case, because we ANDed A and B with 1, it just returns A and B. And again, I'll write the rest of the expression in. Now you may have seen me doing this at each step, and this is helpful for the examiner to see what steps you are taking. Remember, we're trying to get as many marks as possible, and we are fully showing here that we know every single step of the Boolean algebra simplification. All I'm going to do next is use the commutative law in order to swap two of these terms around. I'll swap A and B with not A and B and not C. Now because they're all ORed between each other, I can do this quite easily. Hopefully now you can spot what I did a couple of steps ago. And again, I'm going to factorise the not A and the B and put the C and not C inside brackets. And we just apply the same process from before. The C or not C is just going to equal 1. The 1 ANDed with not A and B is just not A and B. And then from here, again, we're going to use factorisation again, and we're going to take out the not A and the A and put that inside brackets. Don't forget, if we were to expand this, it would just be exactly the same as the previous term. It would be B and not A, or B and A, just a little bit muddled up. Not A or A. The not A or A is just going to be 1, and then you take B and you AND B with 1, and that just gives you B. So the final answer to this question is B.